we are live. I'm coming live from the dungeon in here. We're gonna do it. We're gonna turn it on about 5 minutes early, so folks are just trickling in right now. We got right around 2,700 people registered. So welcome as you come in. Just share where you're from and your website address. So one of the most frustrating things when you're first starting out is you have no traffic. And based on the survey we sent out yesterday, a lot of y'all are just starting out. So post your website address in there. We got 2,700 people in here that can find out about what you're doing and come visit your site. So post it in. Do two things actually. Post in your current list size. So wherever you're at right now and your website address. Do those two things. Bonus points, you can tell us where you're from. But anyway, me and Brian were just chatting. Brian, it's 8:30 your time over in Berlin. It's 1:30 or 1:26 Central Time here. And actually, I'm normally hang out in Nashville, Tennessee, but today I'm in the wonderful state of Alabama, or the state of Alabama, hanging out. We sold our house, and so I don't have a place to live currently, so I'm doing a co-working place today. And it's very dark in here, and you can't see my face. So me and Brian were trying to figure out a way to light my face, and what we came up with was me shining the iPhone flashlight on myself. So I'm going to tell you ghost stories throughout the webinar today. It's going to be very exciting. But anyways, Brian, thanks for having me here. Thanks for telling your folks about the workshop today. What's going on in Berlin?
Yeah, no worries, man. Well, it's good to have you on because, I always talk about SEO, both to the Backlinko community, but also all the time because we chat and SEO comes up a lot. But one thing that I learned from you was that SEO is really pointless unless you can turn that into a lead or a sale. And the sale is very difficult to do. Like organic traffic converts super well, but it's not like you can close someone on $1,000 thing when they're coming from a keyword search. You really have to get them as an email and then drip value to them over time and eventually offer them something of value. And that's something that I actually struggled with was the list building part. Like I was obviously good at SEO when I started Backlinko, and it started to grow and I was getting rankings and traffic and all this stuff. But I had trouble converting those visitors into email subscribers. Like I probably did above average, but that wasn't good enough. I knew I could do a lot better. And that's when we started to hang out. And you pretty much taught me like everything I know about list building. Like you were the second person I saw use a content upgrade, and you're the person that really drove it home. Like this is the thing you have to do. So yeah, I'm glad you did.
So where were a year ago? Do you remember what your list size was a year ago?
I mean,
I remember you had the feature box at the top of your site that said,
yeah, that was a huge mistake.
What's that?
That was a huge mistake. Like changing that to the static homepage focused on conversions like that made a huge difference. I think I was probably, like right now I'm at 70,000, but as you know, I'm pruning it a lot and trimming the list.
Yeah.
So it was probably maybe 50. So it's grown a lot, but I've also deleted people that don't open.
Yeah.
So I'd say like the measure I look at is like the total number of people that open an email when I send it out.
Yeah.
That's the only metric that matters a lot more than your list size. So I look at that, and that's probably like almost twice as much as it was last year.
Well, your 70,000 person list has pushed more people to this webinar than many 100,000 plus email lists that people that we've done similar type of arrangements with before. So it's not the size at all. It's about the engagement. So as y'all come in, thanks for hanging out. We got 1 minute to go. We're going to start right on time. So as you come in, share two things with us. Share what your current list size is. It can be 0. That's fine. We're going to teach you today. Strategy number 3, I'm going to show you. We have to get 100 people by this time tomorrow. And if you're more advanced, if you have 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 people on your list already, we're going to give you strategies to do that as well. One thing that Brian mentioned was his homepage. So strategy number 4, I think it is something called the upside down homepage. I'm going to just show you what we did and kind of what me and Brian talked about and the new page he designed and how that worked, some different things like that. So as you come in, share what your website address is and your current list size. We're going to get started just in another few seconds here. Thanks for coming in. If you're just logging in now, we have right at 2,800 people registered, right around 500 people live right now. If y'all remind me, I'll share numbers as we go through. That's something that I like to see. Like I like to hear what Brian's list size was. He was 50 last year. He's 70 now. He's grown a lot more than that. He's just pruned it down. Like I like seeing how many people, how big was your list and how many people were you able to get to show up live? Like all those things help me set my expectations and give me a goal to shoot for. So I try to share as many numbers as I can. Never from a bragging type of perspective at all, but from just being transparent, because when I was just starting, and even now, very much still, knowing other people's numbers helps me a lot. So anyway, so those are just a few things that set us up. Brian, why don't you get us kicked off here, and we'll just jump straight into the material.
Yeah, man. I just want to do a quick intro in case, just so people. I mean, I'm sure you've seen video through already, or if you haven't, you signed up for this training that Brian's about to give. You probably Googled Brian Harris and found him. So before we get started, just for 1 minute, I just want to say that when it comes to list building, there's like very few people that I trust. It's one of those spaces where there's a lot of stuff about strategies that you've heard 1,000 times, kind of like SEO, right? You've heard all the same stuff 1,000 times. And when it comes to list building, you've heard the same stuff too. You know, offer something of value or use a pop-up and all these strategies that do actually help. But then what? What if you've done that and it's not working? Or what if you want to use kind of advanced list building strategies? And that's where I turned to Brian Harris. We connected about 2 years ago when our blogs were just growing at the time. And Brian has taught me like an insane amount about not just list building, but internet marketing in general. He's one of the reasons that Backlinko has been so successful. And he's just a great guy and a cool dude. As you'll see, as you go through the training, that he's a normal guy like me and you. And he's been able to build his business so quickly. And the secret is his intense focus on list building. And he's going to teach us some cool stuff today. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And with that, I'll leave it to Brian.
Thanks, man. Thanks for. So, by the way, the way you spell Brian properly is Bryan for anybody listening.
That's not true. Everything he says after that will be true. That's the only thing he says is not true.
All right, Brian squared. All right, I'm going to turn on some slides here. Brian's going to unmute and
all right, cheers.
hang out with us as we go.
Take it away, man.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. All right, so welcome to the webinar. Thanks, everybody, for coming out today. I'm excited to jump in. So what we're going to talk about today are the 5 list building tricks or strategies or tips, whatever you want to call them, that we've used to grow our audience. So at Video Fruit, our list just passed 85,000 subscribers. We started 2 years ago with 0, maybe 26 months now. It was January 2014 with 0 on the list, and now we have 86,000. We've launched some successful products and that type of thing. So I just want to share. Now, I don't want to come down from the mountain with the tablets and proclaim the gospel of list building to you. I just want to open up the curtain behind what we've done, behind what Brian's done, behind what some other internet entrepreneurs that have done a great job with growing their list have done in order to grow, or in order for you to take those things, learn from them, and apply them to your business as well. So to get started, raise your hand if this sounds familiar at all. I'm about to describe a process to you, and just tell me, hey, yes or no, this sounds familiar. So first, you have a brilliant idea for a business. Most businesses start this way. Most people, when they have an idea for a product or a book or a website or a software product or whatever their thing is, they have a brilliant idea, and then the first thing they do is even before they build the idea, they go tell a bunch of their friends about it. They go tell everybody they know about it, but they don't give them too many details about it because they don't want them to steal their idea, right? You don't want them to take it from you. And then once you're sufficiently satisfied that your friends think your idea is a good idea, then you go Google around for a few months about it to see if anybody else has done the same thing. Then and only then, after you're sufficiently satisfied that your friends think it's a good idea and that no one else has done the same thing, then you go build whatever idea, service, product, app, book, website that you've always wanted to build. Then 6 months later, you emerge from your cave and you realize you're loud, you have the product in hand, and you're loud and you're proud and you're ready to tell everybody on Facebook about it. So first you have the idea, then you go build the idea, and then you emerge from your cave with the thing in hand, and then step 4, you realize no one gives a crap about what you built, about what you're doing. No one buys it, no one wants it, no one gets it. You sell 2 copies, one to your mom and one to your great aunt because they think you're cute, right? So this is called, put in chat, yes, and an exclamation point for the number of times you have been through this process. I have been through this process more times than I can count. This is called the cycle of guaranteed failure. So what I want you to do is, it has 4 steps. First, you have a brilliant idea. Second, you go write your book, you go build your app, you go make the thing you're going to make. Then you emerge 6 months later, and then you realize no one actually cares. Jonathan says, not really. Great, Jonathan. So never go through this process at all. Everybody else, yes, 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 exclamation, lots. If you don't have at least 10 exclamation points, you're probably not being completely honest with yourself. So about 350 times James said, Andrew, and no, great. Will Brian Dean be talking? I'll be doing the majority of the talking today. Mohammed, we're talking about list building and training. That's why Brian's brought me here, is kind of talk about what I've done and what you can do as well to grow your list. So this is called the cycle of guaranteed failure. What I want you to do is permanently delete this from your memory. Every time, and what I want you to do is I'm going to show you a framework in a second that I want you to permanently tattoo on your forehead, plaster on the walls of your office, and memorize. But first, next time you have a brilliant idea, this is a sticky note, by the way, fun sticky note clip art. I'm pretty sure I took it from Google Images, which probably isn't smart. But next time you have a brilliant idea for a business, what you think is a great idea, you're watching Shark Tank, you're in a webinar, you're hanging out in a co-working space, whatever you're doing, next time you're hanging out, what I want you to do is to write that idea down on a sticky note. Okay, somebody asked about changing the quality. There should be like a gear icon in the bottom right corner. Just hover over. This is hosted on Google Hangout, so if you hover over, there should be a little gear icon you can click and increase the quality. And also, just another housekeeping thing, if you have any issues with quality of sound or some weird thing that goes on 99% of the time, just hitting the refresh button fixes most issues. Okay, so back to idea. You have the idea. If you aren't supposed to do this, if you aren't supposed to have the idea, go make the idea, emerge 6 months later, and then not sell any copies of it, what are you supposed to do? So what I want you to do, the very first thing I want you to do is write the idea down on a sticky note. So if your video is hanging, hit refresh, Luke. That should fix your problem. Write it down on a sticky note. Then I want you to gently open your filing cabinet drawer and then gently lay that sticky note in the filing cabinet drawer, slam the door shut, and lock it. I do not want you to go build the idea. Write it down so you don't forget it, and then come back to it later. The next thing I want you to do is go through this framework. So this is the big picture. This is how you successfully build an audience, build a product, and make a living from it. There's 5 major phases you go through. Phase number 1, which we're going to exhaustively talk about today, is getting your first 100 subscribers on your list. This should take no more than 7 days. In fact, one of the exercises and tips I'm going to give you today, you can do it in 24 hours or less. I've had people get 400, 500, 700. One lady one time got 8,000 subscribers in 24 hours, which is extremely abnormal. Very, very rare for that to happen. But 100 to 200 subscribers in 24 hours is very common. So you can get 100 subscribers in 7 days. Your next big phase you're trying to go through is getting 1,000 subscribers. And this should take you about 90 days. I'm going to give you several strategies you can use today in order to do that. Then once you have 1,000 people on your list, the next thing to do is to actually create that product. So at that time, you can open up the filing cabinet drawer, pull your sticky note out, and make that thing. But first, now that you have a group of 1,000 people who give a crap about what you're doing, who are interested in your topic, you can go to them and validate that they actually want the thing that you're building. Okay? So if you're having, several people have been posting that video problems, so just hit refresh, maybe open up in another browser. Also, we're recording this as well, so we'll send out a replay if you have any issues with that. And then build your first product. After that, there's 2 other big phases. We're not going to focus on them a lot today, but it's growing your list to 10,000 subscribers. This takes around 6 months, and then launching your first big product. This is something that you can see if you've seen those launch recap posts or whatever that people post. This can be your first big 6-figure launch here. Your first small product here, like once you have that idea, you write on your sticky note and stick in your filing cabinet. That can easily in 90 to 120 days be a $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 launch you produced from that list. Okay, so before we jump into the tactical part of actually how to do this, let's bust 3 major myths that surround building email lists. So any person you've ever listened to online has said that they wish they would have started building their list sooner and they wish their list was bigger. But along with that come a lot of different bad teachings surrounding how to do it. So myth number 1 is that you have to have the perfect idea in order to make it online. That is not the case at all. You do not have to have the perfect idea. And in fact, most of the times, if you don't have the perfect product idea or topic idea, it might even be better because your list can lead you into exactly what they want instead of you thinking you have the perfect product idea and trying to force it down the throat of your list. So let me give you an example. I'm a big Auburn football fan, American football fan. And this is actually a picture from 2 or 3 months ago. This was Kenny Chesney, which I'm not a big country music fan at all, but he's a popular country music guy. And he had a concert at Auburn's football stadium. And 60,000 people showed up, paid $100, and listened to him sing. So let me ask you a question. Kenny Chesney had 60,000 people eagerly waiting to buy from him. Do you think if he were to launch a new product, like let's say he were to launch a clothing line, he were to launch a new CD, he was to write a book, he was to create an app that helped people write songs or whatever, do you think he would have any problem selling the first 10,000 copies of that? Now remember, he has 60,000 people who drove in the middle of the night and paid $100 and sat in a stadium to listen to him sing. Do you think he would have any problem selling a $5 app or a $500 app or an in-person thing? He would have no problem with that because he has a group of people who are eagerly waiting to buy from him. So no marketing presentation of any sort would be complete without a token Seth Godin quote. And this is one of my favorite, and it goes to this point. He says, don't find customers for your products. Instead, find products for your customers. So don't find people to buy the random things you build. Find the people and give them the things they want. So when you're building your email list, remember, we'll go back to our roadmap here. Let's go to this section right here. This is where we're going to create our first product, but we're not building the product first and trying to find people. We're building the people first. Then we're going to go to those people and ask them, hey, people, here's a cool idea I have. That's when you take your sticky note out. You go to them and say, hey, this is the idea I have. Do you want this or not? And you get them to vote on that with their dollars. You get them to pre-order. And we have a whole methodology in the Q&A section at the very end. If you have questions about that, we can go over exactly how you do this piece. But we're all halfway decent at making stuff and shipping it eventually. Like eventually we finish the book. Eventually we finish the app. This is the part we suck on, and this is the part we omit, and it causes all of our ideas not to work. So myth number one is that you have to have the perfect idea in order to make it online. That's not the case. You simply need to build the audience first and let them guide you into what to create. All right, myth number two is that you have to be an expert in something before you can build your list and launch your first book or app or software, whatever it is. I used a book here in this specific example, but it can be anything you have that you're going to sell to somebody. Is that you have to be an expert first. That is not the case. There's two different types of postures or approaches you can take when building your list. First, you can be a guru, an expert. This is what 99% of people attempt to do. And this is what Gary Vaynerchuk does extremely well. So Gary has built 2 successful 8-figure businesses and has done extremely good at that. So he is an expert. He can come down from the mountain with the tablets and teach you exactly what you need to do because he's been there and he's done that for multiple decades, right? If you're a 21-year-old life coach, you have not been there and done that for multiple decades. You have no idea what you're talking about. Quit playing that part. You're not that person. The approach you can take, however, though, is learning out loud. I think this is, in my opinion, the most effective way, whether you're an expert or not, this is the most effective, most genuine, and most transparent way to build a list and launch products by learning out loud. So Tim Ferriss does this. He wrote a post a few weeks, actually, it's probably been a month or two ago now, about how he built his podcast over the last 2 years and got 60 million downloads. But he didn't write it from a perspective of, I'm the podcast expert because I've had 60 million downloads. Let me tell you exactly what you need to do. He wrote it from a perspective of, here's some things we've tried. Here's what's worked. Here's what didn't work. And here's some questions people have that I'm going to answer them. Very open, very not top down, but bottom up. This is learning out loud. So you can take any topic. It doesn't matter whether you know anything about it or not, and still build a list and still launch a successful product by doing it. You simply need to be able to answer these questions. Are you curious about something? So are you curious about stand-up paddleboarding for pregnant people? Are you curious about interior design for tiny houses? Like whatever random topic you're interested in, are you curious in something? Second question, can you share what you learn as you learn it? So as you learn how to paddleboard, as you learn what equipment to buy and where to go and proper technique and how to do yoga on them and all these different things, can you simply teach what you learn as you learn it? And third, are you able to be humble, kind, and giving? Because as you go through this process, you are going to become an expert on this, and you have to keep the posture of learning out loud or it becomes disingenuous and you'll lose your audience. So if you can do those 3 things, if you can be curious, if you can share what you learn as you learn it, if you're able to stay humble, kind, and giving through the process, you absolutely do not need to be an expert in something in order to do this. And then myth number 3 is that you have to have tons of extra time every week to get started. So most of us have lives and kids and jobs and mortgages and just stuff going on, right? We don't have tons of extra time laying around, and it can be intimidating when you see somebody that's doing this full time and supposedly teaching you how to do this. You're like, yeah, that'd be great if I could just focus on that full time, I could make it work as well. That's not the case. That's a limiting belief. What I have found is that if you don't have a ton of extra time, the key is doing the right things in the right order. The sequencing of events is incredibly important. You don't need to start building your list with Facebook ads. You don't need to start building your list by doing an Instagram following and trying to get all those people to like you and follow you and join your email list. That's not the right thing to do. Like you can do that, but that's the more advanced thing. First, you need to have your basics down, and then you can do the fancy stuff. You can do the 360 grab wakeboard thing at the end, right? But you're going to start with the basics and gradually layer on the complexity as you go. So as we go through these 5 different tricks I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you who needs to do them and who needs to ignore them from the time being. Because there's several things I'm going to teach you that if you're just starting out, you need to just pause and do that later. There's other things that if you're more advanced, you need to do right now, and you need to ignore the more beginner stuff. So I'm going to share what to do and then why to do it as you go through the process, as we go through this webinar today. Somebody asked how long this is going to be. It's going to be around an hour with Q&A at the very end. All right, so I want you to think of your email list as a group of people who are eagerly waiting to buy from you, eagerly waiting for you to serve them, eagerly waiting for you to give them the thing they have been wanting but that doesn't exist yet. So this is an example. This is a picture, actually, of the last iPhone launch. This was the 6S or 7 or whatever the last one was. There's the Apple Store waiting for them to open the morning of the iPhone going on sale. So question, why is Apple able to mention an iPhone in a presentation and have people standing in line outside of the mall, wait, like people camp out in front of Best Buy the day before and weeks before the iPhone comes out in order to buy it? Like Tesla announced the new Model 3 and had 100,000 people pre-order the car before they had even shown a picture of it. Yet me and you, we build stuff and can't get anybody to buy it from us. Why? What's the difference in those two things? The difference is Tesla and Apple and any successful company has a group of people who are eagerly waiting to buy from them. That's what your email list is. It isn't a faceless group of people inside of your Infusion2Solve or ConvertKit account. These are real people with real problems that you can serve. So picture them as that. All right, so let's jump into actual tactics. Or actually, let me show you two quick stories. I forgot, I stuck this in last minute. So let me show you two quick stories of people that built lists, because I want you to really have concretely visualized in your mind what you can do so that you're completely sold out on doing this before you even start. Okay, so two quick examples. This one is from Catherine Lavery. You can follow on Twitter at Catherine Lavery. And she last May went through one of our trainings on list building, and in a 60-day period built her list at 2,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers, and she had always been interested in, she took a learn out loud approach. She had always been interested in productivity and time management and that type of stuff. So over those 60-day periods, she just experimented and tried to find different hacks and different tweaks and different things to do to make her more productive and stay on task and focus more. And over that 60-day period, she built a list of 2,000 people that were interested in the same thing. And then she was like, well, the idea I have, the sticky note that I wrote down and put in my filing cabinet was that I want to create a like time management journal type of thing. So she did. She opened up a Kickstarter campaign, sent an email out to her list of 2,000 people, and did $40,000 of sales before the product even existed in a 4-day period. And she ended her Kickstarter. You can Google her at Best Self or the Self Journal. Just type in Self Journal Kickstarter and her campaign will pull up. She ended at $322,000 in funding from a list of 2,000 people that she built in a 60-day period. All right, second example. This is from us. Follow me on here. It's at _Brian. And I'd always been interested in writing a book, like a legitimate book. So earlier this year, we decided that we were going to block out 1-day periods, a 24-hour period once a month and build a product, just anything. So in January, we did our first one. And in January, we wrote a book in 24 hours called The Shorts, which I'll show you a picture of here in a second. And it included one different marketing strategy on every page summarized into 3 bullet points. So you can get what it is, see the example of it, understand how you can do it for yourself. We created a sub-interest list of 850 people, and we launched it and did $10,000 of sales in the first 4 days. And we did, and there's a picture of the shorts. These results happened, $10,000 in a 4-day period from a book and 850 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, $322,000 in Kickstarter funding, all because we had an email list. So let's jump into actually how to do it. So trick number one, I'm gonna read through chat real quick, make sure. So if you have any questions that I go throughout, let's stop and pause for a second. If you have any questions as we go throughout, be sure to put them in chat. I'm gonna try to click back over and watch these. Also, there'll be a replay that goes out after the fact. So if you lose a connection, several people were having some quality problems earlier, we'll send out a replay. We can do this. All this is recording straight to Google Hangout. You can also just hit refresh on this page after the fact, and you should be able to get that replay as well. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Can you use this to sell services? Absolutely, Lou. We've sold coaching services and freelancing services, high-end coaching, group coaching, individual one-on-one freelance stuff, high-end contracts, all of the above with an email list. Absolutely. It's all about having people who are interested in what you're talking about and respect you and believe in what you're doing. All right, so let's jump in. Trick number one is the upside down homepage. Somebody asked, Alex asked, how could e-commerce sites do this? So e-commerce sites are by far the most, have the highest ROI potential of almost any site, because almost all of y'all don't pay attention to emails at all. Most of y'all have this big customer list of people that have bought from you, but never email them to get them to buy other things from you. So I'll show you examples as we go throughout of different e-commerce sites, if you'll remind me of how these specific principles apply. But they've applied to almost any industry I've ever seen, from palm readers to e-commerce sites to there's one guy, Justin Rhodes, who teaches people chicken farming and sells chicken coops and sells training videos. So there's training and physical product and e-commerce stuff, everything in between. It totally works for. In fact, Alex, before I started Video Fruit, I ran an e-commerce site where we sold high-end, like $500,000 and up conveyor systems to big Fortune 500 companies, and we did most of it started with an email list. So absolutely doable. So trick number one is an upside down homepage. So tell me in chat, yes or no, if you've ever heard of an upside down homepage at all. Botter, if you just showed up, no worries at all. We're actually just getting into the meat of the webinar right now, so you're good to go. So tell me in chat, yes or no, have you ever heard of an upside down homepage at all? Tara said, I love hearing y'all. Yeah, I'm nice and Southern, so the Southernisms will be kicking. So most no's, no, negative, no. A few yeses, yes, Tara, no, yes, no. They're going too fast for me to read the names out. But so it sounds like the majority of y'all have never heard of that before. So upside down homepage. First of all, this is medium difficulty, extremely effective, takes about 5 hours total to implement. This is something that if you're just starting, if you have absolutely zero, don't do this yet. Wait till you get 100 subscribers. If you have a bigger list, if you have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people on your list, do this immediately. This is what Brian was talking about in an introduction that he did to his site that increased his conversion rates incredibly well. So let me show you what the upside down homepage is. This is the above the fold section of Michael Hyatt's homepage. So if you've never heard of michaelhyatt.com, go follow him, michaelhyatt.com. Great guy. If you're in book publishing at all, he was the CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishing, multi-billion-dollar company, and now he runs a site called michaelhyatt.com where he sells and teaches a lot of the stuff he knows. So one question you should always be able to answer right out of the gate when you go to any homepage is, what is the single obvious thing that they want me to do? Like, what's the obvious thing I'm supposed to do when I land on this page? If there isn't an obvious thing to do, then you've done a poor job as the website owner. So on this page, I've drawn a pink box around every call to action above the fold on Michael's site. In total, there's like 19. You have a category bar, another category bar, a hello bar, social media buttons, some kind of sidebar opt-in thing, another sidebar opt-in thing, listening to the podcast, links, social sharing, more sharing. Like, there is no, like, what is the single obvious thing you should do on this page? Is it read? Is it navigate? Is it follow? Is it click on my sidebar? Like, there is no single obvious thing to do. And what happens because of that is the conversion rate on this site is absolutely terrible. It was 0.25%. Which means for every 1,000 people that came to his site, only 2.5, or let's round up and say 3, only 3 people actually opted into the site, which is the number one thing he wanted people to do. He wants people to opt into the sidebar thing, which, you know, it's the biggest thing, so maybe it's obvious. There's tons of distractions surrounding it, so it winds up not converting well at all. Only 0.25% of people actually opt in. Then we completely blew up this page and added something called the upside down homepage. Instead of having all these call to actions at the top of the page, we took them all and put them at the bottom and gave a single obvious thing to do at the top. And this is what the page looks like now. So this page is actually longer than this. If you go to michaelhyatt.com, you'll see it. You can scroll down, and there's more things to do as you scroll down. But at the top of the page, we take out all the category buttons. We took out all the navigation buttons. We took out all the social media buttons. We took out all the sidebar stuff and put it at the bottom of the page. So all the navigation's at the bottom. That's why we call it the upside down homepage, because most sites have all their call to actions at the top, which make it completely overwhelming for people that don't know what to do, so they leave. So what happened when we did this? So first, let me ask you this. If you were to come to this page right here, what would you say is the single obvious thing he wants you to do? What's the single obvious thing to do when you come to this page? There's only, I guess there's 2 things you can do. You can read the copy and you can click the button. That's it. And when you click the button, you get a pop-up that asks you to enter your email address in order to get the thing that he's teasing right here. So what happened when we did this? Remember, before when we had the page that probably all of you guys have, is that we had a 0.25% conversion rate. We had the blog feed with a ton of stuff to do because we want to give people options. We want to make it easy for them to do stuff. So we give them a million things to do. They get paralyzed and they do nothing. In fact, the bounce rate on Michael's page decreased significantly when we gave them less things to do. If you don't know what the bounce rate is, that's the number of people that come to the site and don't do anything. They bounce and they leave before they do anything else on the site. So when we installed the upside down homepage, the conversion rate increased from 0.25% to 12%, and the bounce rate went down substantially. And I don't remember what that bounce rate number is. I need to look it up so I have that handy. But people spent more time on the site, consumed more pages on the site, and opted into the email list at drastically higher conversion rates than they did before. So why does this work? Like what makes this work? So your home page is the most visited page on your website. So if you look in your Google Analytics, look at the top 5 most visited pages on your website, usually number 1 on almost every website is the home page. So most of your traffic, like 70% of all the traffic that comes to our website at Video Fruit, all comes to videofruit.com. Not to the blog post, not to an internal page, not to the about page. Everybody tells you your about page is the most important page. It's not. It's your home page. That's where everybody goes. So by optimizing the layout and the design of your homepage, you can increase your opt-in rate substantially. We've tested this ourselves on 15 different sites. We've tested it with students on 200 different sites. And the lowest increase of conversion rate that we have seen when you start with a blog feed style page and go to an upside down homepage is 200% increase in conversions by changing it out to an upside down homepage. And the reason this works is because the page is laid out to encourage people to subscribe, not to initially navigate to other pages. So all the navigation is at the bottom. Let me show you a few other versions of this as well. So the page, michaelhyatt.com, if you go there, is a long form upside down homepage. So it's a really long page. It's about 10 pages long. There's a lot of copy there. That can be overwhelming if you're just starting out. So if you're in the 200, 300, 500 subscriber range, it can take you a long time to set that page up because you don't have a big body of work yet. You aren't super confident in what you're doing. So I would suggest you use a short form upside down homepage. So this is a short form homepage here, a short form upside down homepage. This is from my buddy Jeff Goins, goinswriter.com. This is a very simplistic upside down homepage. You have a single obvious call to action at the top. You have a quote, a little social credibility here, and then right below this, it cut off on the screenshot, but there's navigation links right below here. Another example from my friend Noah Kagan. He has an upside down homepage as well, short form style. Above the fold call to action, get access to my 80% of my best business hacks. Then he has a quote for some credibility, and then a read the blog button here for navigation at the bottom. So when we installed an upside down homepage on our site, before we did it, we had around a 1.5% conversion rate. So Michael's was 0.25%, ours was about 1.5%. We jumped to 13 to 14%, which means now for every 1,000 people that come to the site, instead of getting 1 or 2 people, now we get 100 to 150 people that come into the site. And the nice thing about the upside down homepage is that it's something you can set up at one time and you can kind of just forget about it. Like go revisit it every 6 months to a year, tweak it, see if there's some copy that needs to be improved, or maybe you need to update or refresh it a little bit. But you can set it up one time and just let it work for you instead of having to constantly work on it. So some of the other strategies I'm going to teach are outreach strategies, things that require you to constantly work on them to do. But if you already have a little traction, if you already have a list of a little bit of size, if you already have a little traffic to your site, this is the first thing I do when people hire me to help them, is I go to their homepage and I set up an upside down homepage. So a few questions you guys have. Use a list bait too, or just flip? I'm not sure what you mean there. I always suggest having a lead magnet on that above the fold call to action area. You can just look at what's your most popular lead magnet, put it on the call, put it at the above the fold section. If you don't have a lead magnet, create a resource like a tool guide type of thing you could offer there. Look at your most popular blog post, turn that into an ebook, offer it there. If you already have some stuff, use the most popular one. If you don't, a little tool guide is a great thing. What are the tools people use, like upside down paddleboarding? Like, what are the tools? What are some DVDs? What are some paddle boards? What is the Life Vest? Give me some training stuff. If you're doing tiny house decorating, like, give me some resources I can use to do that. Just give me the resources for that. Adam said, freebie offer, lead magnet, or core service offer on the homepage for consultancy. Adam, I suggest not going after the sale to start with, because people, like, I can tell you what never happens. This is what you think happens, but this is what never happens. I'm going to turn my video off. I'll turn the video on because I'm sick of slides. And I'm kind of dark for some reason. The lighting in here is terrible. I'm at a co-working place. What never happens is people never come to your site having no idea who you are, come to your homepage and pay $1,000 to hire you. Never happens. It just doesn't happen. They have to warm up to know who you are first. They have to desire what you're offering. They have to trust in you. It has to be urgent for them to buy, and they have to have confidence that what you're doing will actually help them. You can't do any of that in 5 seconds on a homepage. What you can do on your homepage, though, is build a little bit of trust with them, get their email information, and build that up over time via the list. So that's what I suggest doing no matter what business you're in. If you're an e-commerce site, do not have all your products listed on the homepage. Start with what's the core offer you have. Like one site I like, this shirt came from ugmonk.com. which is a cool site, really good designer over there. Sheldon, I think is his name. And instead of having all of his t-shirts listed on the homepage, give me like the guide to the coolest t-shirts from 2016. Let me download them and look at them, then follow up with me with a coupon in the email, which actually he does some pretty decent marketing stuff, but he still has all of his products listed on the homepage, and nobody comes to a site. Most people that come to your homepage are new people, and you don't come to the site and immediately buy. Let's see, Brian, does a free report or similar count as a lead magnet or do something totally different? Effective lead magnets are kind of a different topic. We can get into that, but what I recommend doing is finding out what your people are already interested in. You can do that by examining your own content, or you can do that by examining your competitors' content, and then use that as your lead magnet. So find out what the most popular blog post is, and then use that as a lead magnet. That's the easiest way. Patrick, 80% of my traffic is from search engine homepage, gets less than 1%. Should I have this on all pages? So for Patrick, for that specific use case, I would still set it up on your homepage. Less than 1%, I would double check your analytics. Maybe that's the case. I've never seen a site with that demographic breakdown before, but it very well could be. What I'd recommend in your case is to have a welcome mat on all of your pages, especially your top 10 most popular blog posts, and use the basic concept of an upside down homepage, but have it on your internal blog post. Can even blog posts have the upside down page feature? Yeah, Leo, they can. It depends on your traffic breakdown. If you're typical, then I typically recommend using the upside down homepage on the homepage and then using welcome mats on your top 10 blog posts. If you're somebody like Patrick and you have the vast majority to internal pages, then set up a welcome mat on the top 10 pages. Let's see, Michael Hyatt reverts to a more traditional page once you see the upside down homepage once. Yeah, so Tom, what I recommend for that is use the upside down homepage, but use a welcome gate feature so that once you opt into the upside down homepage, then you go to the blog feed. So I haven't seen Michael. I'm pretty sure Michael requires you to opt in first, and then you go to that. Maybe they've changed it or something. It's been a while since I've looked at that. But what the best optimized for user experience and effectiveness is to set up the upside down homepage. We use lead pages for that. You can do a custom tech thing if you want. Get somebody to code it up for you. So once they opt in, then they go to that. I think Brian's is static, actually. My current one is static due to some technical limitations we had at the time. So once you opt in, you keep going to that same page. I like it where once you opt in, then you go to the log feed. Because you already have their email address. You don't need to keep sending them back to that page. You can send them back to your latest content. All right, let's move it on. We're going to say any other questions, let's save them to the end so we make sure we get through all the content. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So let's go back to screen sharing here. All right, strategy number 2 is picking your list goal. Difficulty level, none. Effectiveness, the most effective thing you can do. Time to implement, 2 minutes. All right, I'm actually going to turn my slides off again. So tell me if you've ever heard the story. Well, let's stop with this, actually. Everybody's always looking for a cool new strategy. I'm totally guilty of that. That's not a bad thing at all. But we're always looking for new tricks, new tips, new things to try. Yet, what I have found, and what the story I'm about to tell you backs up, is that those strategies and those tips are not the thing that's actually going to make this stuff work for you. So tell me in chat yes or no if you've ever heard the story of the first time that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett met. All right, so tell me in chat yes or no, first time you heard Bill Gates and Warren Buffett met. So this is the way the story goes. Bill's mom calls Warren Buffett up and invites him over for dinner. Like, I'm not exactly sure how you get Warren Buffett's number and invite him over for dinner, but somehow or another it happened. And you have Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. We had a lot of people, no. Not a single yes. I like it. So new time, story time with Brian. All right, so Bill Gates' mom invites Warren over for dinner. He comes over for dinner. Turns out he wasn't actually interested in meeting Bill at all. Warren wasn't interested in meeting some hotshot tech guy, and Warren wasn't interested in meeting Bill wasn't interested in meeting the stock picking guy, and Warren wasn't interested in meeting this hotshot tech guy at all. They were just like, okay, invited me over. I'm going to be nice and come over. So they come over. They're hanging out. And you have these 2 of the most extraordinary business people that have ever lived in this very ordinary scene. You have Bill, and you have his mom, and you have Warren, and you have like the brother-in-law, all sitting around the table. So Joe has heard it. Yes, great, Joe. Good for you. You have Bill, and you have Warren, you have mom, and you have the brother-in-law, all sitting around the table hanging out. 2 of these extraordinary guys in this very ordinary scene. And somebody at the table, they're just talking, chatting, and somebody at the table asked a question. They said, Bill and Warren, what's been the #1 cause of your success? Like, what's been the #1 thing that's caused you to succeed? Asai said, we are dull and boring, goodbye. All right, peace out, Sai. Sorry, I'm not more exciting for you. We'll get naked next time or something. Just kidding. That would be bad. So they said, what's been the #1 cause of your success? And they said, which I think is like an oversimplistic question, right? And they said the #1 cause of our success has been maniacal focus on one thing at a time. It wasn't some stock picking strategy. It wasn't some coding thing. It wasn't some marketing thing. The number one cause of success of two of the most successful businessmen that have ever lived was maniacal focus on one thing at a time. Building your email list is exactly the same way. None of this crap works. No outreach strategy is going to work. No upside down homepage is going to work. If tomorrow, as soon as this is over, you're like sighing, you're like, oh, this is boring. Besides the perfect example of this, honestly, this is boring. Peace out. What Si's going to do is go read another blog post, going to listen to another podcast, and I guarantee you 100%, 30 days from now, his list will not be bigger because he has ADD. He has entrepreneur ADD, which if you're here, you've been hanging out for 36 minutes, thank you. But just embrace the fact you're an entrepreneur, right? Like you're here, you're learning, geeking out on stuff that half your friends have no idea what it even is. So if you're that person, if you're an entrepreneur and you're hanging out, which I'm grateful for, and we have right at 500 people hanging out right now, which is really, really cool. You suffer with ADD. Like you listen to a podcast about Facebook ads and you get really excited about Facebook ads. You listen to Instagram and you get really excited about that. You're worried about SEO. You're worried about all these 5,000 things that you can do, but you're not focused on the one thing that's going to make all the difference for you, which is growing your list so that you can have a group of people who actually give a crap about what you're doing, so they'll buy from you. All right. So strategy number two is to pick your list goal. So there's three main milestones when growing your list. There's getting to 100 subscribers, getting to 1,000 subscribers, and getting to 10,000 subscribers. What I want you to do right now is pick the one that you're the closest to but haven't passed yet. So pick the one 100, 1,000, or 10,000. Which one are you the closest to but haven't passed yet? And then I want you to take out a piece of paper. Take out a piece of paper. This is a workshop, not a listen shop. So if you're hanging out and listening, come back from Facebook, come back from Twitter, put down the child, put down the cereal, pull out a piece of paper. Pull out a piece of paper. And I want you to write down the goal you're the closest to but haven't passed yet. Write it down and then put it in chat. So if your goal, if you're just starting out, your goal is to get to 100, write the number 100 down. And then I want you to tape it up on the wall behind the screen where you're watching this right now. Because every time you sit down at your computer, every time you get up, every time you screw up and spend 5 minutes on Facebook or 10 minutes on Twitter, I want that goal to be staring you in the face, asking you one question. Is what I'm about to do the quickest way to get there? If not, stop doing that crap. If so, do more of it. Okay, so pick the one you're closest to, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Write it down on a piece of paper, tape it up on the wall, and then focus on it. And I'm going to give you the strategy. I already gave you the upside down homepage. I'm going to give you 3 more strategies that you can use to actually get there. But that has to be your guiding light. So when I started in January 2014, I had 0 on the list, but how to get 100 subscribers. We're getting there, Leo. Just hang tight. You got to do this first. The very next strategy, you're going to learn how to get your first 100 in 24 hours. Just hang tight. ADD again. Write the goal down first. Leo, have you written your goal down right now? Put yes or no. Let us know. We're not going to move forward until you tell us yes, because nothing else is going to work if you don't stay focused on it. Leo, let us know, yes or no. I'm going to talk about other stuff until you let us know you've actually done it. Okay, so quick story while Leo's telling us yes or no. So in January 2014, my goal was to go from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. And at the time in my office, I had a whiteboard like right over here. And on the whiteboard, the only thing I had written on the whiteboard was the number 10,000. Actually, it was the number, Leo, don't focus, man. Leo, yes. So Leo, you got to save everybody. All right, Leo said yes. All right, good. So I'll finish up this story and we'll move on. So I had the number 75 written on the board. And somehow I did some math and figured out that I needed 75 subscribers per day in order to get my goal of 10,000. And that goal on the board right there, the goal 75, this is not the room actually. We sold that house a week or so ago. But that goal was my guiding light. That was the thing that kept me on task. So everybody else, right now, write your goal down. And if nothing else, because you're going to forget a lot of the strategy we're going to talk about. Like you forgot the strategy from the last webinar you had. But I want this piece of paper to still be hanging on your wall 9 months from now. And that's what you're focused on. And hopefully this become a bigger goal. Maybe that 100 became 1,000. That 1,000 became a 10,000. But I want that to stay up so you focus on it. All right. Enough of focus. You got to focus. It's incredibly important. Let's go to strategy number 2 or strategy number 3, which is the launch team strategy. So this strategy is not easy. This is something that if you're starting out, if you're under 100, let's say if you're under like 250, this is really, really, really effective. If you're at 0, this is the first thing you need to do. It's not easy, and it does take some time to actually implement, but it is a single most effective strategy I've ever seen for quickly growing your list. If you're a complete nobody and know no one, you have no optimization you can do, and you're looking to start. Can we still write it down when we just start a blog? Yes, because the way your blog is going to actually work and you get traffic to it is via an email list. Because if all you rely on SEO and you never actually convert those people into emails that you can talk to on a regular basis, all your stuff's going to bounce. You're never going to come back. So you got to build a list. So launch team strategy. I want you to picture your list. Most of us, when we think about online businessy stuff, we think of it completely backwards of how we think about physical in-person businesses. So I want us thought exercise for a minute. I want us to think of our list as a physical business. So this is a picture of a coffee shop. Let's imagine that your entire life you've wanted to open up a coffee shop. Like you've saved up your money, you're 35 years old, and you got the perfect place picked out. You put all your money into it. You're hipstered out. You got like coffee mugs hanging from the ceiling over here and chalkboards everywhere. And it's the night before the grand opening. What do you do? What do you do? The night before your grand opening, the biggest day of your life, this is what your entire life has led up to. What do you do the night before the grand opening? I'll tell you exactly what you do. You tell everyone you know about your grand opening. You tell your mom and your dad and your high school friends and your college buddies. You tell your ex-girlfriend. You figure out how to log into LinkedIn and tell them. You go to Facebook. You tell everybody you know about your grand opening. You're proud of it. You're excited about it. And you want a ton of people there. Not so you can sell your mom coffee, but so she'll bring her friends with her. And so the people driving in front of them and driving in front of the coffee shop see a crowd of people there and they're hanging out and they want to come in because there's something cool going on. Yet, Luna, when you start your blog, and I'm not pointing you out specifically, all of us do this. When we start our blog, we start our email list, we don't tell anybody about it. We're embarrassed about it for some reason. Why do we do that? That is really, really, really dumb, and it causes way more work for ourselves than we should do. So what I want you to do instead is do this. Step one, make a list of 5 people you know. Do it right now. Open up your emails, look at your send emails. Who have you been sending emails to? Write their name down. Who have you been talking to on Twitter? Who have you been direct messaging with or replying to? Who follows you on Facebook? Who do you follow on Facebook? Who have you been texting with? Who have you been talking to? Just write down a list of 5 people. 5 people. Somebody asked about a wedding photography course. Hold that question. We'll come back to it. I have multiple friends within the wedding photography world that do extremely well with email lists. So come back to that in Q&A for that specific example so we can go in depth on it. So step 1, make a list of 5 people you know. Step 2, personally invite each person to join your list. So write down your mom, your wife, your college buddy, whoever you've been following on Facebook, Twitter, write down 5 people and invite them to join your list. Remember, this is like the coffee shop. We're not trying to get random people from Bangladesh to join our list. We're trying to get specific people to join our list. And we want to start with people that already know, like, and trust us so that they will introduce us to people who actually will buy from us. Okay, so step 2, personally invite each person to join your list. Here is a script you can do. Screenshot this right now, copy it down. This is exactly what you can say in your text message. And just adapt this for your language or your specific platform you're reaching out to them on. It would say something like this. Hey, Roger, I'm starting a weekly newsletter. By the way, don't get caught up on that specific wording. I'll show you how to do that in Q&A. I'll show you how to start a weekly newsletter. It takes less than 15 minutes a day. And it's key to actually building a list that'll buy from you is starting a relationship with them and talking to them on a regular basis. So slight tangent there. Hey, Roger, I'm starting to make a weekly newsletter where I send out, fill in the blank, whatever your very high-level topic is. This can be I'm sending out weekly updates on me learning how to paddleboard. I'm sending out tips on learning how to garden. I'm sending out tips on how to build an email list. I'm sending out updates on the new t-shirts I'm designing for my e-commerce shop. I'm sending out new updates on the characters I'm writing for my new fiction book. Whatever you got, put it in there. Thought you might dig at one end. That's all you got to send. Somebody's going to get 5 subscribers by the end of this webinar just by texting people. In fact, let's do a competition. I do this every now and then. I didn't plan to do this today, but we got a lot of people asking questions, and I like engaged groups. So we're going to do a competition. I'm going to set a timer right now. I'm pulling out my iPhone. I'm going to set a timer for, actually, let's save this to the end. That way you pay attention to the next strategy. We're going to do a competition. Stick around to the very end. When we start Q&A, we're going to kick off a competition. I'll have to give you the outline of it, give you the reward for it, but write this script down, text somebody right now, and you have a heads up on the competition. Let me give you an example of how this went with somebody I texted. Hey, quick question. I'm starting a weekly newsletter thing where I send out business tips and strategy. Thought you might dig at one end. This is actually to my Uncle Alan. He said, I'll take a look. Whatever they say here, unless it's no go away, the best email address for you. So if you use this basic script more or less and they respond with, hey, that sounds interesting, let me think about it, respond with what's the best email address for you. If they respond with, I'll take a look, respond with what's the best email address for you. They're responding, yeah, that'd be awesome. You respond with what's the best email address for you. No matter what they say, respond with what's the best email address for you. The email address. Then you write it down on a piece of paper. You don't need a website. You don't need a domain name. You don't need an email service provider. We can get all to that later. If you're starting from zero right now, take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, take out your phone, invite 5 people, write their emails down. and repeat the process till you get to 100. I have countless times seen people, and I'll show you a few examples here in a second, of people that have just done this, nothing else. My mom did this. You don't even know what GoDaddy or WordPress is. My mom did this, 55 years old, knows nothing about computers. She got a list of 250 people in a week just by doing this, just by asking people she knows, novel concept, right? Just like you would with a coffee shop, just like you would with your in-person business to join their list. And step 3, each time someone says yes, write their name down, write their email address down. Here's a couple examples. This is from Janet Barclay. You can see her, she tweeted this out. These are a piece of paper right here where she wrote down people's email address, name and email address. Got 200 subscribers in 24 hours without a live site. 100 subscribers seemed far away until it hit 201, all from just asking people to join the list. Second example from Dominique, lives in Slovakia. First to make 100 took me 12 hours. To get to 100 subscribers in 12 hours just by asking people. So let's review the steps real quick. Step 1, make a list of 5 people you know. Step 2, personally invite each person to join your list. Step 3, each time someone says yes, write their name down. Do that. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about if these people will be buyers or not. Don't worry about if you're talking about paddleboarding, you're texting your 85-year-old grandma. Your 85-year-old grandma wants to tell all of her friends and all of her friends' kids on Facebook about you. So start with the people you know. Do not start with complete strangers. Start with people you know and leverage them in step 2 or the next phase to actually grow the list. So in strategy number 5, I'm going to give you a way to easily do that. And there's several just low-hanging fruit things you can do. Like the very first email you can send, you can just ask people for referrals. There's a guy right now we've been writing a case study on that'll publish here shortly called Syed. He got 2,000 subscribers simply by he went to 10 cafes, asked everybody in there to join his list, and then sent them an email asking them to share with a friend. And he got one person out of that group that had a big following, had a big blog, and they featured them to the audience, and that produced 1,500 more email addresses for him. So we got 500 from asking people and another 1,500 from getting featured on the blog from asking a random person he didn't know that happened to have a big audience. Like you won't luck up and get that all the time, but you always wind up with these really cool opportunities by doing things you're slightly uncomfortable with. What if I do not know many people? First of all, you do know many people. That's a limiting belief. There's 2,000 people, or hold on, let me tell you the number right now. There are 448 people on this chat right now. There are people that are following inside of the SEO That Works Facebook group. There are people in other Facebook groups you're in. There are people you have emailed. There are people you have texted. There are people you call. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. So focus on what you do have, max it out, and then come back to me and ask, what do I do next? Right? So focus on what you can do. All right, so you don't, Rocky, and you have 20 people. So ask 20 people. Start with what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Start with what you do have. What if I only know 6 people, including my mother? You do not know only 6 people, Nathan. There are 450 people in chat right now. You can ask them, right? So I'm going to give you some other examples of things you can do. Max this out. Maxing out for you might be 6 people. Maxing out for you might be 20 people. Maxing out for you might be 2,000 people. Max it out. Whatever you can do, max it out. Next 24 hours, hustle your butt off. All right, next strategy, the poster board formula. This is one of my favorite strategies to use. You can use this at any phase of business. If you're at 0 right now, max out the launch team strategy first and then come to the poster board formula. So the poster board formula is not super difficult and it is extremely effective and it's something you can keep on doing over and over again. It's a recurring task you can put on your calendar to do over and over again. So let me give you the step-by-step of how to do it, and then I'll give you some examples of it so it kind of sinks in exactly how this actually builds your list. So step 1, make a list of 5 products you've purchased, 5 blogs you read, 5 podcasts you listen to, books you bought, webinars you've been to. This can be a variety of things. These are just meant to get you going. Make a list of 5 products you purchased, 5 blogs you've read, 5 podcasts you've listened to. Okay, make a list. Step 2, record one win that you've experienced from using their product or information or webinar or whatever. Like right now, what's a webinar you've been on? Ours. Like I'm teaching you right now. So have you experienced a win from my teaching? If so, do step 3, which is let me know about the results and thank them. So let them know about the results and thank them. So let me give you an example of what happens when you do this. These are some things that have happened to me and to students after just doing this simple 3-step process. Been featured on homepages of popular sites, guest posting opportunities, case studies being written on you, long-lasting relationships. And the thing that happened the first time I used this was I was emailed out to a list of 750,000 people simply by reporting back the results of a course I took and saying thank you. So let me show you a specific example. This is from, if you notice the dates on here, this is a Twitter direct message that I sent to Clay Collins, the owner of Lead Pages, or the co-owner of Lead Pages, back in March of 2014. So remember, I started my list in January 2014. So I was 2 months in, had a list of just a few hundred people. I started using lead pages, and I just Twitter direct messaged them and said, hey, I pulled a 19.2% overall opt-in rate yesterday with my first guest blog post. 95% of them were via lead pages. He said, holy crap, that's amazing. So remember, March 13th of 2014, this formed a relationship that then produced this result. This is now July of 2014, so 4 months later. Thanks for the shout out on Pat's podcast. That's referring to Pat Flynn. Do totally. So after I just simply said thank you, he talked about me on one of the most popular business podcasts that exists, and I got a few hundred email subscribers from it. Then, that was the initial result. Then I got featured on the Lead Pages podcast, which produced 350 subscribers to my list. Then that podcast opportunity turned into a guest post opportunity where I got 1,000 more email subscribers, which turned into a second guest posting opportunity, which produced another 1,800 subscribers. So remember, all this started with me sending a simple 2-sentence tweet to the owner of the product saying, thank you, here's the result I got. The total net result of that was 3,150 email subscribers by one implementation of the poster board formula. The best way to sell a product is to tell the story of your successful customers, and that's why the poster board formula works. Everybody that sells something, if you're not doing this, you're making a mistake. The way you should sell your product is by telling the stories of people that have used the product to the people that haven't used the product yet, to show them where they can use it and get a similar result. So here's a few examples of that. This is Casey Graham, a video for a coaching client, just sold the rocket company recently, actually. He's featured on the homepage of infusionsoft.com. Featured on the homepage of infusionsoft.com. They get hundreds of thousands of visits a month simply because he reached out to them and said, thank you, here's the result I was getting. Another example, this is from John Meese. He was a case study of ours. He got 250 subscribers in 40 days or 45 days and did a $10,000 product launch. So we feature him on the sales page of our big product, 10K subs, our course that teaches you how to go from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. He simply shared the story, and now I tell his story all the time. So I shared his story in this webinar, I share the story on the sales page, and I share his story in private all the time. And I support his stuff just because he implemented. He didn't have the biggest result of anybody ever. He just simply shared it. There's many people who have big results and don't share. They just don't tell me, so I don't know to tell their story. That is the poster board formula. Do that once a week. Make an action item once a week. I'm going to find somebody that I've learned from, a product I bought, a book I bought, a webinar I listened to, a tweet I saw, whatever. Share the result of that thing when you've taken it and implemented it, and the result will be really good. All right, let's see. I was looking through, see if anybody else had any questions. It looks like nobody did. So let's go to strategy number 5, creating a smart bribe. This is something that's fairly new. I saw this last summer for the first time on Noah Kagan at Traffic 1M. They ran a email course that summer called Traffic 1M, and they used this on the thank you page. It worked really, really well, but there was no way to do this without a bunch of custom programming. So 2 months ago, I was telling you earlier, we wrote a book in 24 hours. That was the January challenge. In March, we did a challenge where we built an app in 24 hours. And the app we built was called Smart Bribe that'll let you do the thing that Noah Kagan was using on the Traffic 1M thank you page. So let me show you what it is. So most of y'all registered for this webinar on this page right here. If you registered today, you saw something that people that registered 2 days ago didn't see. If you registered today, after you click this thing and enter your email address, you saw this. It wasn't a thank you page. It was a tell a friend and get a couple more free things page. So notice what happens. You enter your email address on the webinar registration page. Then you go to a page that says, hey, tell a friend about the workshop that you just registered for, excuse me, and get some get some fun bonuses. You'll get the beginner's guide to list building via live replay, and you get the 50-minute trick to double your website traffic. All you gotta do is click the tweet button. So what happened when we did that? Before we installed this, so this was actually a test we ran. In the first 2 days, and we actually got the majority of opt-ins to this webinar in the first 2 days. In the first 2 days, we got not a single tweet about the webinar. Not one person shared it with a friend. After installing this, I installed it this morning at 9 o'clock. I think the email went out, and this is Central Time. I think the email went out around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And the time in between, we got over 200 shares just because we asked people to tell a friend about it and incentivize the share. This is I just took a screenshot of my Twitter feed because I mentioned Backlinko and Brian, so I get a little ding every time somebody opted in. You can just type in that URL to BuzzSumo and see the exact number. I rounded a little bit there. I think at one point we had 150 and we got a whole bunch of more messages. So anywhere between 150 to 200 messages just in like a 5-hour span, shares in a 5-hour span, just because We incentivize people to share. So to do that, let me show you how to set this up and the best practices for this. Let me actually share my screen here. Screen 2. All right, blow this up. So this is what I recommend doing. I recommend going to your most popular opt-in on your site. So maybe it's your sidebar, maybe it's your upside down homepage opt-in, maybe you're doing a webinar coming up. What is the most popular opt-in you have on your site? Install this on the thank you page for that opt-in. Don't put it on every thank you page. It gets a little old to your users after a while, but do it on the most popular one. So if you have one that performs really well, go to the thank you page, put it there. This is how it works. I'm gonna walk you through the process so you see it in real time. So imagine we actually give SmartDrive away as a free app, but to get it, you have to use the app. You have to tell a friend about it. So it builds this little referral loop into it. So imagine this is a call to action for your ebook or for your course or for your guide or for your whatever your free thing is. When you enter your email address here, enter Brian Video Fruit, instead of getting a thank you page, we get to share this to get immediate access to SmartDrive plus an extra bonus. So you get installed SmartDrive and you get the 15-minute WR traffic trick. Notice we reuse this. This is something we use a lot of times for opt-in. You can reuse stuff over and over again. That's fine. So to get it, you have to click the tweet button. When you click the tweet button, there's an automatic tweet that comes up. Click the tweet button. Then you come back to this page and it says you can email a friend about it as well. So email one friend about it. And we're actually going to we're working on building in a Facebook integration of this as well. We're going to work on that over the next month or two to get that done. It opens up a pre-populated email we can send it out to our friend Daryl, tell him specifically about it. Then it takes you back to the SmartDrive page where you can actually get the bonus. So this is what generated 200 shares to this webinar in the last 5 hours just by incentivizing the share. Okay, so go get SmartDrive. It's completely free. To get it, you will have to share it. Install it on the thank you page of your most popular lead magnet. That's the action item for this. All right, let's go back to the slide action. Screen 2. Here we go. All right. All right, so let's review. We've talked about several different strategies. Trick number 1, set your list goal. Focus on it every day. Remember, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Write it down. Show it up on the screen. Put it up on your wall. Trick number 2, create your upside down homepage. I'm going to paste in a few templates for this right now too into chat. UDHP. These are lead page templates. If you don't use lead pages, get it. If you don't want to get it, then you can pay a developer or something to build them for you. These are lead pages templates for a long form upside down homepage and a short form upside down homepage. Go grab them. Trick number 3, establish your launch team. Invite 5 people right now to join your list. Repeat until you have 100 or till you max out your network. Trick number 4, tell 3 people how they've helped you and repeat that process every week to 1 person. Remember the poster board formula. Find somebody a product you bought, a blog post you've read, a podcast you've listened to, a book you've got, a tweet you liked, whatever. This webinar, start with me. If you've gotten something helpful out of this, you've taken action on it, email me, brian@videofruit.com. Tell me about it. I want to tell your story to people, and that will grow your list. You'll be featured. You'll have case studies. There's all different types of ways that'll manifest itself. It's always been a positive thing. And then trick number 5, create a SmartDrive on the thank you page of your most popular opt-in. All right, those are the 5 tricks. It's Q&A time. Let's start Q&A time. We're going to go 15 minutes of Q&A. So I'm going to set a timer right now. Set the timer. Actually, I'm going to set it for 17 just so I have 2 minutes to explain the contest. So I'm going to turn off slides. The timer's going. So this is the contest. The first person to invite 1 person to their list, get a confirmation of it in the form of the email address. You have to get the email address. I'm going to say do this like via text or something you can take a screenshot of. Paste a URL to the screenshot in the chat. You're going to get a free copy of our course that isn't open for enrollment right now. We only open enrollment twice a year, once in April and once in October. So it'll be 4 or 5 months until it's ready again. You'll get a free copy sent to you immediately. So right now, invite 1 person to your list, get a confirmation, take a screenshot of it, figure out how to upload it to a link somewhere, put a link to it in chat. The first person that does that, and we confirm it, you'll get a free copy of 10K subs. All right, so get to work right now. Brian, you're invited. So let me give you 1 caveat on inviting people. Don't broadcast it. So Rich, don't broadcast it, everybody. Go to individuals and ask them. Don't tweet about it to your whole account. Don't Facebook post about it. Don't blast a church email list or some email list you bought somewhere. Individually invite people, 1-to-1, not broadcast 1-to-1. All right, could you come back to the wedding photography cases? All right, so yeah, Paola. Restate your question, actually, so I know the exact question. But yeah, I'm happy to share some examples of wedding photographers now. How about logistics? At what point do we need Aweber, MailChimp? For how long can I just send no more emails? Yeah, good question, Megan. So once you get to 100, go open up a ConvertKit account. Go to videofort.com/ConvertKit. You'll get a 30-day trial of it. You can demo it, try it out. That's the email service I recommend. It gives you features that are beyond MailChimp that I highly recommend you using. So once you get to 100, take out that piece of paper. So you wrote all those addresses down on a piece of paper. Just import them manually into MailChimp. And then you want to start writing and publishing one short article a week. All it takes to do that is answering people's questions. So just write down a list of 15 or 20 questions that people have on their topic. And then once a day, take 15 minutes to spend a little time writing an answer to that question. And by end of day on Friday, publish that to your blog. If you don't have a blog, set it up once you get to 100. Publish that to your blog, and then email out to your list with a link to that blog post. That's what you want to start to do to start building a relationship with that list so they actually trust you on that topic. So once you get to 100, that's when you need to import them, start writing 50 minutes a day, publish on Friday, build a relationship with the list. What is the pro and con of a long and short form homepage? Is a long form worth it? Yeah, Chris, so it just depends on where you're at. Long form converts better, but it's kind of a time optimization thing. By the way, we have 14 minutes. Oh, hold on a second. Let me make sure I didn't miss screenshots. Here we go. Debbie posted a screenshot. Let's look at Debbie's screenshot here. Make sure she got a confirmation. Yeah, that's like a form they filled out. That's not the assignment. The assignment is to reach out to one person individually, get that person to confirm and give you their email address, not via a form, but via a real person asking them. So Debbie, good effort. You have to get an individual to say yes. All right, nobody else posts, like broadcasting out invitations is not what we're going for. Think of this example. We're gonna come back to the question about long form versus short form. Think about this. There was a yard sale in our neighborhood a few weeks ago. We drive out of the subdivision, we see a sign at the end of the subdivision that says, hey, we have a yard sale, come to our yard sale. Guess what? We didn't go to the yard sale. That's a broadcast message. If they instead would have gone to my house and put a flyer on my door or knocked on my door and had a conversation with me, say, hey, Brian, we live right around the corner, we're having a yard sale. I'd love for you to come hang out. I got a few things I think you might be interested in. Guess what? We would have come to the yard sale because it's a personal invitation. Broadcast messages are not effective. What is effective for getting individuals to come are one-on-one invitations. You can come, like you can eventually go to broadcast stuff, but in the beginning, do not focus on that. Focus on one-on-one invitations. This is not a way to do this quickly. This is not easy. It doesn't scale. It is one-on-one. It is extremely effective. So focus on that to begin with. So Yvette, if you do that one more time, I'm going to ban you from the webinar. Quit asking people to broadcast out. Yvette has asked 3 times. This is your last warning. Get it? How do I post a screenshot? You have to figure that out, Rachel. Upload it to Sketch, Dropbox. That's part of being an entrepreneur is figuring stuff out. So figure out how to get it uploaded. So we're 0 for 2 so far on successful invites. We have 12 minutes left, 12 minutes and 28 seconds left to go. So, all right, so long form versus short form. If you already have over 100 subscribers and you have some substantial traffic on the site, so we'll say at least 1,000 visitors a month, then I recommend spending the time to create a long form page. If you don't, set up the short form. That's the easy way to answer it. We've seen a 2 to 3% increase in conversions with a long form, but that's negligible if you're in the very beginning and you're going to spend all that time to get it done. Like some people just get locked up on it. So if you see yourself getting locked up on it, guys, post the screenshot here, postimage.org. Cool. Yeah, that's actually a cool website. If you see yourself procrastinating or see yourself it's taking you forever to get it done, then just go and create the short one, come back and create the longer one later. Got an email. Good job, Luna. Get a screenshot in. What other questions you guys have? Is the upside down homepage good for an e-commerce site with over 250 products? Absolutely, Steve. Absolutely. It's good for, I haven't seen a use case where it's not good yet. Because with e-commerce, people come, you have really high bounce rates usually on e-commerce sites because there's no content there. It's just buy everywhere. So on your homepage, if you have buy, your bounce rate is going to be high. And you're never going to be able to talk to that person again. So if you SEO'd really well, you get a ton of traffic coming, you're leaking out 99.99% of that traffic and they're never coming back. If you collect their email address first, then you're able to talk to that person and get them to come back again. So you got to get the email address. It's really nice to hear you talk about this. That's exactly what I do for content marketing. Cool. You're focused on lists. You focus a lot on list building, but one thing I stress about is creating valuable email content, how to create valuable emails on a weekly basis or even more than that. Yeah, so those are 2 conjoined topics, but the primary purpose of this webinar is to teach you how to build the list. So as far as nurturing the list, like I talked about earlier, the way I recommend starting with that is not writing epic content. It's starting by just simply helping people via answering their questions. So make a list of 20 questions. Go to Quora.com, email the list, and ask them what questions do you have. Brainstorm off the top of your head. Make a list of 20 questions, and then spend 15 minutes a day answering one of those questions. By the end of day Friday, have one completely finished and publish that in the form of a blog post. Answering people's questions is about. I published a blog post today, like 4 or 5 hours ago. People kept asking or having this common theme of, I'm doing this and it's not working. Like I'm inviting people and it's just not working. It's just taking forever, but it seems like you do stuff and it goes really quickly. So I wrote a blog post today answering that question. Go check it out. videofruit.com/blog. I think it's a pretty good post. Kind of funny, lots of cool little graphics in it. That's the answer to that question. It's good content. It's got good reactions so far. All right, so somebody posted a screenshot here. I think Luna actually looks like to be the first one. Luna, let's check you out. I'm gonna screen share this so I can show you all this for y'all that aren't seeing this. Screen one, here we go. All right, so here's Luna. Hey Kristen, quick question. I'm starting a fashion blog and posting weekly recipe. Fashion blog with a recipe. I don't even know what that is, but that's fine. Would you like to get the newsletter? Yeah, love it. Which email do I send it to? Boom, done. This is the perfect example. Luna, email me, or actually, email me Brian@videofruit.com and put all caps in the subject line. I'm the person that won the contest, Luna, and I'll hook you up with a free copy of the course. It might take me a day or two because I'm leaving here. And anyway, long story, but yeah, email me. I'll make sure you get that ASAP. I'll try to do it before I leave if you'll go ahead and email me now. So good job. That's poster boy formula in action. Like I want to tell Luna's story. I want to share her story with more people. So be the poster boy. Take action. Share the results with people. All right, let's go back to questions here. So several other people got it. Good job, guys. Keep on going. Keep on doing it. I need one. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Luna. Great job. All right, any other questions? We got, let's see. We got 8 minutes left, so y'all got it? I checked it. All right, so Jessica said Luna got the screenshot. So actually, Luna, email Jessica@videofruit.com, and she'll go ahead. Jessica, hook her up with the comp her into the complete package instead of the hub, and get her that ASAP. So yeah, good job. So we're gonna get you in the next few minutes. Good to jump in. All right, any other questions you got? So the primary traffic on my list is my 5 friends. The people you're gonna start, like, think of this. Word of mouth is by far the quickest way to grow anything. So you're gonna start, not finish. You're gonna start with people you know. So you know the average person knows 100 to 200 people in their network. Those aren't people you talk to every day. Those are just acquaintances, people you went to high school, college with, whatever. Not Facebook friends, but 100 to 200 people you actually know. So that maxes out pretty quick. Maybe 10% of them say yes, you've got 20 people on the list. Cool. What happens next? Now you get those 20 people to tell their friends about you. You can use Smart Bribe to do that. You can just ask them via email newsletter to do that. And there's other list building strategies. You can use the poster board formula. You can use guest posts. And there's a ton of stuff we haven't talked about. I'm just sharing the 5 of the most effective strategies we've found that kind of cover a wide spread. Does Smart Bribe work with WordPress? It works with any website that uses HTML. So yeah, it works with every website on the store. It uses a little script that you install on the thank you page. So it's not a plugin or anything. Once you set up your Smart Bribe, you get a script, put that on the thank you page, and it takes over the page and does the rest. So it's really, really simple to install. But yeah, so once you get that list of 20, that's the first step. The next step is to keep growing to 100. So keep asking people till you get to 100. If you stall at that point, a few little hacks you can use to do that is look on Twitter, search.twitter.com, search for hashtags, also Instagram.com, hashtag based. Search for people that are talking about topics around the topic you're interested in. So like type in yoga, type in leg day, whatever little phrases, and y'all are good at SEO, y'all are good at this, phrases that are surrounding your topic, and look for people that are interacting and talking about the topic, invite them to your list. Go to meetup groups in your city, invite them to your list. There's a lot of different tactical things you can do in that 0 to 100 category to get that first 100. The key is being focused. The key is cranking down heavy in the first 7 days to hit 100. Once you hit 100, then you can set up the site, then you can start your list, then you can start writing content, then you can start the poster board formula, then you can set up your upside down homepage, then you can set up your Smart Bribe and email your whole list to it so they recommend it to people. Then you can start other strategies we haven't even talked about, like guest posting and doing skyscraper technique stuff like Brian teaches. And there's, I think, a list of like 15 different strategies we teach in that 100 to 1,000 bucket. These are some of the easiest to get going with. So hopefully that helps. I'm interested in Monica's question, Brian. Why do you do a weekly email? Would an email every other week be okay? So there's lots of varying thought on this. Brian sends once a month. He actually sends emails more often than that, but he posts once a month. Weekly, I have found to be a sweet spot and the most applicable to the most people. Most people aren't good at writing. Most people don't know the topic they're going to talk about. If you write every week for 90 days and you grow your list to 1,000 by the end of that 90 days, which is extremely doable, You have 13 or 14 different blog posts by that time period. Now you can look at that content and analyze it to see what topic people are interested in the most. So the key to building the perfect product is knowing, all right, I could create a product on this category, and this category. This category, when I wrote a blog post about it, people were super interested and shared it and commented and liked it and all kinds of stuff. When I talk about this category, people were like, eh. So don't create a product on the meh category, create it on the super excited category. You won't have as much data set to go on if you only write every other week or once a month. So I recommend writing once a week to make yourself better, to build the habit, to provide more value, and have a bigger data set to build your product based off of. What do you think about my smart exit dialogue set up on my website? So probably exit intent pop-up. I like exit intent pop-ups. We'll probably table going over to look at that for now, Eric. Should you drive your audience to your website with every email you send out? I recommend doing that. I mean, you don't, not every email, that's a pretty definitive statement, but as a rule, when I email the list, I give them a summary of the blog post or a good introduction, a good hook for the blog post, and then have a link to go back to the site. There's a lot of reasons for that. One of which is I want to train my list to do stuff, not to passively consume, and that's a micro action that they can take. I want to get that traffic to the site, because as you get more advanced, there's things you can do with that traffic. With ads, you can just have 1,000 people that come to your website a month, create lookalike audiences of that, and do ads to that. I don't recommend doing any of that to start with, but if you train your people to come to the site, there's advantages of having that traffic on the site versus just having it in the inbox. So I try to, on probably 90% of our emails, there's a call to action that brings them to the site. Pay attention to Monday's email we send out. If you're on the list, which if you've opted into the webinar, you are. Pay attention to Monday email. All the blog posts is in the email. Then there's a call to action at the bottom that gets them to come to the site to comment. So we mix it up, we vary it up, but I always want to try to have something that brings them back to the site. Lara asked, does SmartBribe work with other social media platforms like than Twitter, like LinkedIn and Facebook? Not yet. This is an MVP version. We're actually kind of the roadmap for SmartBribe. We built this MVP version in 24 hours. It made it really good. Works really well. We have a whole big feature set we want to add. We have other templates we want to have for the thank you for those pages. We have other email services and different actions like retweeting or following or tweeting out a specific thing. There's lots of different things you can do. But before we go and build that, that's going to cost around $5,000 to $8,000 to fully build out. We're going to go through a validation sequence in June, following the exact stuff we teach, to see if people will be willing to pay like $9 a month for that. And if we can get 100 people to pay $9 a month and prepay for a quarter at a time, then we'll invest the money back into SmartBribe to keep building out. But for now, it does Twitter and email. Let's see. Nate said, what tips do you have to go from 100 to 1,000 or 1,000 to 10,000 opposed to just the first 100? So we talked about a lot of them here, Nate. Upside down homepage, poster pro formula, SmartBribe, list goal. Those are 4. In addition to that, you can Google, just Google marketing giveaway video fruit. That works really well. Google expanded guest post. You can also go to videofruit.com/ebook. That's something we actually probably should take down, but if you go to videofruit.com/ebook, I think it's an ebook of 3 of the most effective list building strategies that are working for us right now, and it's slightly more advanced stuff. There's some really cool new things we've experimented with this year. You can go check that out. Those will be more advanced things you can check out. Let's go check that out. Please talk slow. I'm not good at talking slow, unfortunately. Where can I subscribe to your newsletter? So you can just go to videofruit.com and opt in there. Also, if you opted into this webinar, what we do with those email addresses, we bring them into the list, and then we send you a transition email. I think it goes out the day after, that basically say, hey, thanks for coming to the webinar. It was really fun. Welcome to the family. If you don't want to get an email, what we do, we normally send out weekly emails where we experiment with stuff and then report back on the results. If you don't want to get that, click here and we'll unsubscribe you. If you do, we look forward to seeing you next week. So then you'll get an email Monday from us when we send out, and we don't have any autoresponder long-term stuff set up. We just send live blog posts once a week. So where can you subscribe? You're already subscribed. As long as you don't unsubscribe via that transition email, then you'll be good. All right, guys, this was fun. We'll take one last question if you have it. How do you customize your strategies if you're going after an extremely niche industry? They're the exact same strategies, Jacob. Yep. So one of the #1 skill sets you can build is the ability of taking a strategy from one industry and applying it to another. So there's nothing like email list building is extremely niche. Like most people don't know what an email list even is. Palm readers, chicken farmers, like on and on and on. There's super niche topics that I've seen people do that with. It's totally doable. Should you not ask for the first name along with the email address? Makes names more personal. You can. I found it to be an over-optimization point. It does. I found it to decrease opt-in rate a little bit. I've had friends that it doesn't increase opt-in rate with. I just found it to be a little bit of a distraction. This was fun. Thanks, guys. This is really fun. We're going to send out the replay for this. I appreciate you coming. If you have any questions, just let us know. We're here to help. And look forward to hanging out with you and learning more from you guys. See ya. Bye. War Eagle too, Tara.